Wednesday class, I had proposed partially a strength building day, and we're working on the dorsal sheath. Welcome back, Barbara. But if you're not someone that likes to build strength with tools like dumbbells, for example, very light, by the way, no more than a few pounds, or bungees, such as like Dusty Green stretch bands, pretty light. Then I'm going to offer non-propped, a little bit of non-propped option. I know that Anne is not a big propping person. Not to call you out here, and I'm totally with you. Props can be a distraction as well as being a tool. Ultimately, your own body is your prop. The problem or the challenge is that most people don't know how to use their body, which sounds absurd, but no one really gave you a user's manual or taught you, most of us, good anatomy. So you have to kind of pick it up along the way and feel what's right through practices that you've done, like dance and athletics, and figure out what works, how to stay safe. And my anatomy knowledge has been picked up piecemeal. I've tossed things out, I've kept other things, and I'll share that with you. So if you're just jumping in, today is our dorsal sheath strengthening day. Now, what does that mean? That means that the back line of the body, from the fascia in the feet, the soles of the feet, to the ridge of the forehead, that whole sheath down the back line is what keeps us upright. So if we don't have any strength in the paraspinals and along the spine, and we're trying to sit, you know what happens. The big pitching forward, and you see people, even younger people, because of the cell phones, this happens. And then when you're standing, if you want to just stand up and follow me through this preliminary exploration, coming into a Tadasan pose, mountain pose, your first pose in yoga, usually in standing practice, is to tone the legs. But what does that mean? So really, all the muscles of the legs, but more specifically, for most people, the backs of the legs, the calves and hamstrings, are the ones that get weak. The quads stay in pretty good shape because of pitching forward and doing all sorts of jumping around. But the back line of the body, if you were to stand up and again kind of follow me through this preliminary talk, to tone the backs of the legs is no mean task. So if I were, just for Anne's, in honor of Anne, and you're getting a lot of play today, at the ballet bar, either with my hands on a chair or the wall, or I'm so good I don't need anything, and just to kind of kick one foot back along the floor, one leg, and to tone right up to the insertion of the hamstring in the sitting bone. Okay, and just do the other leg. It's just a little, now everybody's jumping into class, and see what fun you've missed. We're doing little mule kicks to energize the back line. So can you feel this? And if I were a dancer, in my past life I was, and I was doing some sort of exposition, but I'm a yogi, so I'm gonna work toward a peak pose today, which some of you will get to, some of you won't, called Warrior 3. And that involves this mule kicking back, and then the whole toning of the paraspinals. Just like that. No problem. So some of you, if Alba has jumped in, she's ready for it, right? She kicks back, she raises the back leg, like throwing a ball forward. It's just right into that back line strength. But most people are not. So we have to study this, and we have to prepare the body to do postures like that, or even just to keep ourselves upright. And then once we built that strength, of course, we maintain some flexibility in forward folds, which we did on Monday. But in my experience, as you get on in years, strength is a little more important even than flexibility. Okay, so let's go right into it by going onto our backs and launching right into a handstand. How's that? No, just kidding. Some of you can do that, but most people cannot do a handstand, which is another extreme gains, dorsal sheath manifestation. So again, there are a couple people in class, I know there are, who can go up to their wall and just pop right into their handstand, toning the backs of the legs and toning the paraspinals. Go for it. But the rest of us are going to relax a little bit and find a wall. And we're going to do a little pranayama on our backs and then watch, either with the towel roll or flat on your back, you're going to go back to the wall with your hands and do your handstand right here. You're going to push into the wall and tone your legs into the floor, pushing the heels into the wall. And that will be our awakening of the dorsal sheath. So go ahead and set up, now that you know what madness I'm up to. You don't have a wall, you could, in theory, do without and just imagine pushing into something, or maybe grab chair legs. And just get that pressure. And what is this but kind of a big yawn, how you'd start your day anyway. So you could open your mouth and just give a big yawn. Oh, oh. And that yawn, oh boy. I'm gonna open my shoulder blades and start to open the chest, tone the shoulder blade muscles rather, the back extensors. Oh, and open the chest. So you get a side benefit now as you relax to your shavasana. Let your toes fall apart, your legs untone, your hands by your hips. And we're going to go right into our Pranayama Rounds. If your legs straightened along the floor affect adversely your low back, bend your knees and do it with bent knees. So here we go. 20 breaths. Inhale. Open your mouth, exhale. Keep going. Feel the awakening of the back ribs, so dorsal sheath, the diaphragm in the back sheath of the body, coming all the way up to the shoulder blades. And you can feel how the breath would help to sensate and expand and to consolidate the dorsal sheath. Keep going rhythmically. Exhaling, relaxing shoulders, relaxing jaw, relaxing diaphragm. Filling the body with breath. Like a giant balloon. 2 more. Deeper still. Exhale, release. And pause. Beginners, take a hand to your abdomen, another hand to your chest, and soften the nervous system here. When you start to struggle, your diaphragm starts to get tense around the solar plexus, then you inhale. Hold that top of the inhale without clenching in the throat. The eyes soften, the ears soften, exhale, release. Here we go again, inhale, exhale. At your own pace. Deep and rhythmic. Feeling the diaphragm expand. Feeling the back ribs all the way up to the shoulder blades. Or if you prefer to close your mouth, do that. Make this pranayama more subtle. You keep a sound in the back of the throat regardless. To monitor a smooth influx and outflow of breath. To induce a calmness, an awakeness of the nervous system. Is if breathing were the most fun thing you did all day? How wonderful to be able to draw breath. Cleaning the body, bringing fresh energy in, emptying the trash on the exhale. 2 more. Exhale, release. Soften. Use your hands as guides to the nervous system, the vagus nerve. Pausing. Melting into the floor. Now, some of you could stay with the pause for up to a minute and beyond, and you can do that. Others, you need to inhale. You hold the top of the inhale, you've now filled the shoulder girdle, the shoulders are nicely rolling back toward the mat. You hold that for 10 seconds, and then exhale, release. Okay, last round, inhale and exhale. And again, if your low back is not happy, your head's not happy, make allowances, bend your knees, take something under your head. Now, even though I'm making some sound for dramatic purposes, you can be a lot less dramatic and forceful with the breath in terms of the tension in your throat. Remember, the diaphragm down in the belly is doing most of the work, along with the posterior serratus, which is in the back lower ribs. Don't restrict the airways. Expanding the elastic envelope of the lungs. and the ribs, which encase them. Slow and deepen. Now you'll hyperventilate if you go too fast, so that's natural to start to slow down anyway. And to think about pauses in the transition areas. Top of inhale, bottom of exhale. Your body will crave those. Let's do one in a volitional way. We exhale, release. We just let the breath drift off and we pause. You have plenty of oxygen to just pause for a while. Your mind may tell you, hey, you need to breathe. But if you listen to your body and soften it, you actually don't. You're full. You're digesting. Still, don't struggle to make it work. When you need to inhale, you do. That feels really good now after the pause, and now I hold the top of the inhale and savor that like a nice sip of wine. Holding it in the back of the throat, then I release that. Okay? So let's begin, and we're going to pull our knees into our body and just give them a squeeze. And feel that low back unwind. You can roll on the low back in little circles now. Still holding the knees, just do a little rounding motion like you're tracing the circle the size of a plate. Clockwise, counterclockwise in your low back. Which tends to take more of the punishment during the day. And then once again, we're going to straighten our legs. We're going to reach back if you came in late to a wall. We're going to just tone the whole dorsal sheath, pressing our palms into the wall, pushing our legs, backs of our legs down into the ground, pulling our toes back toward us. And take 5 breaths just to feel and imagine that you're doing a handstand. You can even press the back of the skull into the mat. And then release. Pull your knees into your body. And then we'll roll on our backs back and forth. If you're not a huge rolling fan, or you've got some sort of disturbance in your neck or something, just roll over to your side and come up to seated. But otherwise, tuck your chin and just do several rolls back and forth to iron out dorsal sheath. And we'll come up to seated, whichever way worked for you, and we'll just come to hands and knees for a second and do a little bit of cat and cow work. So the hands under the shoulders, fingers spread, the knees right under the hips. Inhale, go ahead and look forward and arch. Exhale, curl. And we're just going to feel the movement of the spine and hips moving in extension or cow pose, and then exhale, cat, rounding the back. And just moving the muscles on the paraspinals so we know what the oscillation curves of the spine are when we're not doing something to try and make it rigid. And then we're going to perhaps broaden our knees a little, bring our toes together and touch. Look forward toward our hands and come into child's pose, Balasan. placing the head on the mat, or those that need a little prop for your head, you take your towel roll, place your head down. Now this is extended child's pose, so that means that the arms are extended. Be mindful of the inner and outer shoulder, and that one isn't pinching, inner shoulder, outer shoulder. Come up to hands and knees again, curl your toes under, and start to sit back in toes under child's pose, also known as puppy dog pose. And you can walk your hands forward, place your head on the mat or on the towel. Now we're stretching the plantar fascia. So the fascia, the dorsal sheath that exists in the bottom of the sole of the foot. So I don't know if Jeannie is here this morning. I promised her some tennis ball work, some footwork for the nerves in the feet, and here's your go-to for that. And stay there or come halfway up. Again, spreading your fingers, thumbs pointing in, and come up to your first downward dog, stretching out the backs of the legs, toning the quadriceps. Coming forward to high plank position. And again, watching your shoulders. So if you're someone that has some shoulder issues or high plank for you is not tenable, then all you're going to do while we go back and forth between plank and downward dog is you're going to sink back to that puppy dog pose and stretching your plantar fascia. Maybe you come up halfway to a halfway down dog and then you come down. Inhale up, exhale down. Okay, and then you can shift forward and come to hands and knees. Back, up, knees down, forward. The rest of us, we come back, we lift up to downward dog, inhale. Exhale, high plank position. Watch the inner and outer edges of the shoulders. Tone the core, drop the knees, and sink back. Lift up downward dog, inhale. Extend the arms forward. Exhale, high plank. Toning our bandhas, our core. And we drop our knees down. Child's pose, the toes tucked under. Do a few rounds of these. Either one. Remember, you can do the beginner or advanced. Basic strength building of the dorsal sheath. If you're glutton for punishment, you go back and forth without the intermediate step between high plank and downward dog. Pushing your arms forward, stretching the backs of the legs. So this is an advanced movement. I got to tone the backs of my legs and the fronts of my legs, just as I did in Tadasana, to maintain that. Okay, let's have a little respite in Virasana, sitting on your shins. And if you want a little seat, you can take the towel roll and sit on that. Place your hands on your legs, like so, and checking with the paraspinals, checking with the shoulders. We're going to stitch our fingers together now and launch. It's called Badahastasan, bound hands. So we press our bound fingers, our stitched fingers, palms to the sky. We hoist up our arms and press. So another motion like the handstand press, except now we have a little bit of stretch through the palms. And toning of the outer arms, the triceps, which I'm going to propose are part of the dorsal sheath. And then release and take yourself forward again to hands and knees. Now we'll bring our knees a little bit closer together, and we're going to just work on a basic physical therapy move. Every physical therapist makes you do this, called bird dog. But if you were here at the beginning of class, we kicked one leg back. We were standing. So now we're just going to try to do this. And we're going to extend or slide back one leg and maybe lift it off the ground to tone the muscles in the back of the leg. Toes are down. Leg doesn't go that high, so the hips stay symmetrical. I'm just going to go for a little walk. Inhale back, exhale knees together. Simple stuff, right? So take a little Virasana rest. Now watch. Now we get the arm into the picture. So the right foot goes back and the left arm launches forward. It's the opposite arm. Inhale, exhale. And you see if you can bring that extended arm right up alongside the ear. And just go for a little walk. Inhale, extend. Exhale, find the ground. Really kick back with the heel, particularly the inner heel. Want to challenge yourself? You can hold one of these extensions a little bit longer. And then take your rest in either child's pose or Virasana. If you felt any pinching in your low back, chances are that the low back muscles and the core are not communicating as well as they should. So a little bit more on that in a second. So those of you who are beginners are going to stick with the bird dog. Otherwise, what do? We come up to downward dog, take a peek, and we're going to now take our right leg back. If you have a wall, you can take the toes into the wall, bend the left knee a little, and try to do our three-legged dog. So this is easier with the foot into the wall, and harder if you just have a free-floating, if I switch legs, free-floating extended leg. Arms fully extended, leg into wall. So if you're watching this, and I know there's a few beginners, there's options. You're going to stay with that basic bird dog if three-legged dog is not working for you. I like the wall because I can extend my arms fully, look at my back toes, and push into the wall. Okay, let's come down, sit in Virasana, and take our shoulder rinse with the Badahastasan. Again, this is a multi-level class, so I'm just giving you different options. So before we start standing and moving a little bit, one more option just for, again, I didn't see Alva come on, but she's here. She likes the advanced moves. I know Catherine does too. And so what you can do with a wall now, with the three-legged dog watch, super fun, but only to be done if you're strong enough in the shoulders. I take my foot into the wall, push, and I lift up the down foot off the ground. Okay? So if my right leg goes into the wall, my arms extend and push, and then just lift the bottom leg off the ground. Okay, enough of that nonsense. And let's take a forward fold. And everyone can fold over their bent knees. And maybe begin to lift one heel, lift the other.
and place both down and take your Uttanasana, forward fold. On Monday, I showed you a forward fold into the wall, which you're welcome to spin around and do. You can hold your opposite elbows. And then an advanced forward fold, for those that have been up for hours, is to take your sit bones into the wall and your heels into the wall. For those that have a deep forward fold, grab your heels and fold down with the elbows apart. So that's for the super advanced people. Then we'll walk out to our downward dog from here. Take a few breaths to get our best quality downward dog before walking the feet up toward the hands. Take your hands to your shins now, come to a flat back. And flat back position is an exhibition or engagement of the paraspinal. So that if I create a flat back, then I can go ahead and bend my knees a little, drop my sit bones. I want to engage between the shoulder blades, keep the collarbones open, but absolutely keep the low back safe by dropping the tailbone or bending the knees slightly. Now I bend the knees quite a bit to lift the chest, chair pose, inhale, and exhale, I stand. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on and do some fun strengthening things. And here's where you can either grab your little dumbbells if you like, your stretch band if you prefer, or if you don't like any of those, grab a strap, which I'm going to show first. Everyone should have a strap who can do this. We're going to stand on our strap, which we've done in the past, right in front of our heels for Tadasana. And so just in the back of the arch, we're going to hold the strap in each hand and create a strong body by having our arms long and able to pull up on the strap, to roll the shoulder heads back just a bit, and to drive the heels down to tone the backs of the legs. So here I am, and I'm a soldier, rigid as a soldier, a stiff Buckingham guard type of Tadasana. Okay, then I'm going to step forward out of the strap and bring the strap up my back like this. You see how I did that? If you're new, I was on the heels, I stepped forward, and now I spread my wings like so. And I'm going to just stretch that strap now to tighten and tone the paraspinals in the back body. And just do that a few times. Drop the strap loop, stand on it, pull up with the arms, hug the upper arm bone, upper bones of the arms into the shoulder sockets, tone the backs of the legs. Step forward, spread your wings, open your collarbones. Now rotate your knuckles up to the sky. One more time, we stand on the strap. This basic stuff that still creates a lot of nice work and strength. Stand on the strap. Make sure your arms are fully extended like a penguin. And lift the arms up. Hug the arms to the main frame of the body. Tone the backs of the legs. Keep the throat relaxed. You can be singing opera, or if you can't sing, you do Ujjayi Pranayama. So that as you do strength, stepping forward, wings up the back, and then spin the knuckles to the sky, toning the backs of the arms and triceps.
Okay, and then go ahead and drop the strap. We're just gonna take the left heel on the strap now. And remember how I started class? If you were here, I just kicked this left foot back like a little mule kick, still holding the strap ends. And then you're gonna slide back that left heel to a warrior one orientation. I've got my strap in my hands. We used to do this a lot. I bend into the front knee as I inhale. And I exhale, lean forward. Now, I start to push into the back heel. I tone the triceps by taking the arms and trying to lift them to the wall behind me. And then I step the feet together and I switch the right foot and the left foot comes out. Again, I can give a few little kicks. If you're a beginner, this is it. Otherwise, you slide back, bending into your left knee, and you've got the strap around your right heel. Back foot's at about 30. I get the arms taut, straps taut, and I lean forward. I tone the backs of the arms by slightly opening the chest and making Badahastasan arms. Dorsal sheath, right through the back of that right leg. And step the feet together. So you can go for a little walk, switching feet, sliding back, inhale, exhale, lean forward, bring the feet together. Switch feet, inhale, slide back, exhale, lean forward, slide. And you're keeping tension on the strap the whole way. Okay, so if that's working for you, it's fun. Great. But if you want the next challenge, once you get back there, lift your back heel, lean forward, and maybe lift up to Badahastasan with the strap on the foot. This is for the advanced people. And then I switch. So multi-levels, you don't want to fall over, trying to show off for your roommate or your spouse. But if you've got that back line toned, this is the first step toward a warrior three. And it's the same muscular engagement that we have on hands and knees when we're taking our leg back. So do that a little bit if it's feeling good. Whatever variation, just getting the lower body set up first. Now we've got to work on our upper bodies a little bit. So we're going to take our strap under our heels again, and then we're going to step forward and bring it up the back again. And start to feel the shoulder blades toning together, the tips toning together. And can we go ahead and go for a little walk now and take our left foot back, lift our chest, and then feet together in the other leg. So we've got the legs and the arms. One extra credit, you know where I'm going to go. Whee! Okay, now we've done this up move in the past. And by the way, this could be done with a bungee too, rather than a strap or a stretch band. So if that's all you have, you can use that instead. And it has certain merits as movement. I'm going to take it around my back like I just came out of the shower. Again, you can use your strap if you don't have a bungee or you prefer to use that. I take it right under my armpits and I capture it under the crook of my thumb and my index finger We've done this one in the past too, where we just go up. With the arms now in Tadasana, we've toned the legs. So if you had a bungee, you go up and down, keeping your legs toned. If you have a strap, you're just doing it with the strap. Around the armpits, inside the forearms like that, and you just let the strap slide through and stand. Come down, come up. Do you find the backs of the arm toned? Lastly, just because I am going to record this, there's options. Dumbbell people. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Light weights, strengthening the back line. Can you do all of this now, either dumbbells, strap, bungee, in a warrior one? Yes, and now you're going to. So choose whichever one of those you like. The bungee extension of the arms, which is Badahastasan, upward arms, hastas, upward hands, hastas. I don't care what you use. You can choose any of them. And you're just going to hoist up your arms once you've anchored that back foot down. Big strength through the back body now. You should be able to feel it through the backs of the arms, through that back leg. When you come down, either with your bungee or strap, other side. So now warrior one becomes super warrior one. Okay? And if you're using the dumbbells, add a slight rotation as you go up so the knuckles face back. So I'm giving a little rotation like that. All right, so do that a little bit more, just so you're feeling strong with it before we move on. This is a lot of material, I know that, but I'm giving you different options. Now again, the bungee people are happy bungeeing, and they're going up and coming down. Little walk, little side step. You're just strengthening your arms. It's not a big deal. Oh, you wanted to do warrior three now? Of course you did. Bungee or strap, lean forward and lift. Then the front knee step back, come down, feet together. Other leg back, bungee or strap, lean forward. Beginners or intermediates, you're just doing the lean or lifting your back heel. Otherwise, energize. Again, multi-level. Choose your variation wisely. You should be getting warmed up, by the way. Okay, let's move on to the other piece of the puzzle. And we're going to take a forward fold just to iron things out. We're going to kick our toes out like we did on Monday from Balasan. We're going to sit down in a squat. And bring our palms together and clap and take our elbows inside of our knees and lift the spine without hurting the low back. And then we'll place our palms down, take another forward fold, and walk the feet back one at a time to your downward dog. Now feel if the downward dog is a little bit more toned with the engagement of the backs of the arms, backs of the shoulders,
back to the legs. If you want to bring your feet together, try a one-legged warrior one, or a downward dog rather. Now you can compare what we did earlier. Now we're all gonna fall down and collapse in a big heap, or come to Balasan and take your towel roll. So how do we build some more strength in the thoracic, the mid-back that tends to sag, and still get the back leg involved? So a little bit more work there, and take a peek. We're gonna move toward a dolphin pose, which is pretty strong pose. And there's some different options here, but what I'm gonna suggest, if I take a forearm plank, take my hands together, stitch them, hands and knees, or forearm, hands and knees rather, I'm to drop my head down either within the elbow, so watch first, or I can have a towel roll for my head. I'm gonna bring my knees together. And then I'm gonna slide one leg back. So I'm gonna slide the right leg back. And then I'm gonna lift that right leg up. And then I bring it back to having both knees together. I slide the left leg back. I lift that. And then knees together. And that's it. I'm drilling my forearms, the bones of my forearms down right to the pinky fingers. I have the elbows in front of the shoulders. And this is a pretty medium work pose. I just slide one leg back. I engage through the muscles in the back leg to lift it, not too high. And then I bring the knees together. Slide back and up, inhale, exhale, knees together. Keep your shoulder blades broadly distributed on the back. Keep the forearms pushing into the ground. And then do about 10 and then take a break. Take a break. Now, the advanced folks can do the full dolphin with one leg lifted at a time. But before any of us do that, let's take our towel roll. Since we've kind of engaged that tricep area, and we'll stretch it out. We'll take our towel roll, take our elbows right on top, clap our hands together, walk our knees back, and put our head on the towel roll and stretch. As you sink your hips back, stretch under that armpit and that triceps muscle now that you've energized it. Because to do a good down dog, to do a good dolphin, you need what's called eccentric contraction or strength in extension. It's not all about jamming and getting all contracted into a fetal position. So it's a little bit of a paradox. Now, if you're a beginner and that first exercise was sufficient, staying on your knees, that's where you're going to stay. Otherwise, now I'm going to karate chop my pinky fingers down. I'm going to clasp my hands together for modified dolphin. And I'm going to drop my head and push my forearms forward, spread my shoulder blades, and lift my legs and walk the feet in toward me and a little together. Watch first. Now I really have to maintain this eccentric contraction or extension of the upper arm bones forward. And if your neck is dangling and doesn't feel good, but you can kind of get the pose, and you take your trusty towel roll for a headrest. The advanced folks now, keeping full projection of the forearms, lift one leg up. Tone your glute, tone the back of your leg, take a few breaths, and then back goes the other leg. You have to keep your breath feeding up the back ribs, through the lungs, through the upper arms. And then you safely come down, take child's pose.
Boy, way too much work. Now, I'm not going to even show it because I don't want people doing this randomly, but those that know how to do a forearm balance can go to the wall and do it. I'm just throwing that out there since we've done the work. Okay, so let's do a little more with the arms and then we're going to close off class. And here's our last, nearly last exercise for strength building day. So this can be done with a bungee, can be done with the dumbbells, even a strap. And we're gonna stand up here and we're gonna, if you've got a bungee, you can stand on it with one foot. And it's triceps extension. I'm gonna take my hands to the strap with a bungee like this. This is what I'm gonna do. Keeping my elbows no wider than shoulder width. I'm just gonna go up and down like that. Those that would prefer to do it with a strap, stand on the strap and just with your long strap, get both arms, hands walk down, and again, elbows no wider than shoulder width, and just feel this tone. And if you prefer to use dumbbells, taking a dumbbell and taking your hands back and you're just going up and down like this. Not a lot of weight, and you're just developing those muscles and the extensors. So do one of those, and if you're really adventurous, in advance, you can try the following. You're going to take the strap between your feet and take it around that back shin, got it around my left shin, and now I've got the strap in my hands and I push up as I push down to the bottom shin. What is this? This is the beginning of Badahastasan with both arms on the strap. So that's for Alba, if she's here. And you do the other leg. Again, multi-levels and pick wisely, choose wisely. So let's have a seat now and start to wind down our work. And we're going to take a towel roll now under our knees for forward fold today. And then draw it even closer to you into your hamstrings. And just roll on your hamstrings, roll from left to right. And you can take the strap around your feet now and just pitch. What are we doing? We're just massaging our hamstrings. And you can take forward fold here with your hamstrings pressing into the towel roll. You can move it forward to the backs of the knees. Do the same thing for 5 breaths. Push down. Dynamic stretch of the hamstrings. Pushing the legs down into the towel roll. Keeping the chest lifted against your spine. And if you like, if you've got flexibility, put it under your calves. Lift your heels off the ground. Really stretch the calves now. Pulling the toes back, leaning back. knees. Okay, so let's wind this down, and since we've done a lot of work in the back, I'm going to suggest that the towel roll might be placed under the shoulder blades here. And as you slide your hips forward, catch the tips of the shoulder blades, and with your hands in the back of your skull, just glide your head back to the floor. Open the arms out like goalposts, right angles. Slide one leg and the other leg forward. And you can also extend your arms like wings and breathe. Relax the legs. Let the toes turn out. Allow the breath to slow down. Bending your knees one at a time, roll to one side, and come up seated to close off class. I see we lost a few people on our strength day. So hopefully that wasn't too hard, but it's very valuable to use or develop strength and use props to do so. Palms to heart, namaste.